Hello, hello. If you can hear me, let me know. If you can't, I'll type in chat. Check 1, 2. Of course, and if you're watching this in post, if you're watching this after the stream is over, feel free to skip ahead. There's a timer on the screen for when we start reading the game. Awesome. What's up? Hello, triple person. Welcome back. Hello, Mango Cheesecake. Nice to see you back too. How are you guys doing tonight? As I settle in for this stream. Doing well. What is a liminal space? Good question. We should Google it. Hello, Thumper. What is up? Good, about to go to lunch, QB Master. Lunch? How many hours ahead are you? 13? 16? Are you back? How can you can't go be back? There's nothing. Oh, wait, hold on. Maybe this is better. This should be better. Sorry, I was talking off mic. I work nights. Oh, that would explain it. That would explain it. I was like, what's -8? What's -8 to my time zone? I'm like, okay, is there a -8? If I'm -5, you might be in the Pacific Ocean to get to lunchtime. I'd tell you what this game is about, but I don't know for sure. I'll be honest. Don't know too much about it. This game was recommended to me by, I believe the person who did layout design on this game, so should be interesting. It's always lunchtime somewhere. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I can't believe you don't know. Triple person says, I can't believe you don't know everything about a game and a series about learning games together. I don't. If people want to know my vetting process, it's basically like I look up the game on itch. Like, will it break my bank to buy? Is it kind of important? And then I read the description, and if it's cool, then I look into the author, and if they're cool, then I go for it. I just reach out to the author and say, hey, do you mind if I stream the book? 9 times out of 10, they're okay with it. But sometimes, like, they limit, like, oh, you can only stream this much, or, you know, yada yada, and that's okay. That's cool. But otherwise, I try not to read it at all. I try to get a glimpse of, like, what materials I might need in terms of play materials, like cards or block tower or something like that. Anyway, let's jump into it because it is time. Hello, everyone, and today, actually, let me change pages. Oh, nope, that's not it yet. Not yet. There, not yet. This one. There you go. Hello. Good start. I was on the wrong tab. Welcome everyone to the 99 More stream, where we talk about 99 other tabletop RPGs. Today we're going to talk about Terminus. Terminus is a game written by, let me see, Jonathan Boyle, I believe, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Yes, Jonathan Boyle. This is a game recommended to me by Emily Entner. You might recognize that game from the individual who did the layout design for Precious Things, a game we did, I think, 3 or 4 streams ago. And this is just a game that looked interesting and I got it. So if you want to learn more about it, you can read it right here. I have the PDFs available. What's interesting about this one, and I'll show you guys now, is there is obviously the long version of the game, which is 15 pages or 30 pages front and back. But there's also like a 1-page version if you want to look into that too. So it should be very, very interesting. So if you want to learn more about this game, you can find it on itch.io. You can look at their profile. Jonathan Boyle does have a couple of games here. That I was actually looking into Crash Cafe. I'm sorry, I didn't even change the page. I was actually looking into Crash Cafe before we even started streaming, or I even looked at this. So it was cool that I found the author of another game I was interested in. Jonathan Boyle has a website where you can look into more of their work. And of course, their Twitter handle is Resident Bard, which I have linked in the description, I think. Maybe I don't. But if you check on my Twitter, you'll find their Twitter because I recently posted about them. So, what is this game? We're about to find out. There, where the heck did I put it? There we go. And Triple Person asked in chat, which game would you have said no to? I don't say no too often. I think games that are like games that would appeal to me is kind of the first descriptor, I would imagine. It's almost that simple. It's very, very rarely more complicated than that. It's more like, oh, I think this game is interesting. Some games are a little too similar to games I've covered before, or a little too close to D&D. Might be a bit off the record. I think if it's too close to like editions of D&D I've already seen before, or spin-off of that, then I don't touch it because we already know the vibe of that game. But I do like looking at projects that are similar to 5th edition but a little bit different. Like recently there's DC-20, there's Tales of the Valiant, there's Vagabond, there's Daggerheart. All of those are interesting games to me, but I don't know. It really does come down to if I find it interesting from first blush. And then I look through their catalog, and since I try to cover one game per author, I try to find the one that is most interesting to me out of their total catalog, if it hasn't been recommended like this one is. So without further ado, let's get into this. I'm pretty sure I haven't covered anything else by Jonathan Boyle before, but yeah, let's get into it. Let's see what this game is all about. Terminus. The game's name is Terminus. Terminus is a ritual tabletop role. Let me try one more time. Let me recollect myself. Terminus is a ritual tabletop storytelling game. I don't know what this means yet. I'm sure we're going to learn about it. Ritual tabletop storytelling game for 1 to 2 players. Originally written for a 1-page RPG jam, this game encourages exploration of liminal spaces and attention to the world around us. Assume the role of a spirit that ensouls a liminal space as its last visitor departs. Through the spirit and its visitor, relive the memories of all that has transpired here by observing your real-world surroundings and interpreting prompts from a tarot deck. Huh, interesting. At the end of the game, observe the actions of your last visitor and release the final memory made within you into the universe as your halls are left forever empty. A 23-page zine with simple rules, Terminus is an excellent game to take on a walk at the park, bring to the airport or museum, or any public place where you can find a moment of peace and some good people watching. Grab a notebook, your favorite tarot deck, and head to your favorite haunt to play. Huh. Would you look at that? This game is kind of like a game you take on the go. Might be difficult to do for a stream, but let's look into it even further. Though this game requires the use of a tarot deck, you need not be an experienced tarot reader to play. If you have access to a deck, a little intuition, and a love of storytelling, that's all you need. The images from your deck and other prompts in the game will provide the framework for your story, and you can fill in the gaps with experience and intuition. For practice readers or those with several decks, I encourage you to try the game out with different decks. The themes of each deck and the place you choose will help shape the story you tell. The game also includes rules for play without a tarot deck if you do not own one. Below you can download links for the game. Cover art for Terminus was done by, oh my gosh, I don't know how to say this name, Brigid? Is it pronounced like Ingrid? De Danan? I'm not going to say this name correctly. This person is in charge of the cover art. I'm sure they're a wonderful person that I do not want to murder the name of. Find more of her incredible work on Twitter and Twitch. Layout designed by Emily Entner. This is the person we know as the layout design person from Precious Things, with editing by Marks Shepard. And what we need to play the game: a copy of Terminus, a tarot deck or regular playing cards, access to a liminal space or digital access to one, a surface to place cards on, a notebook or sturdy piece of paper, a writing utensil, and one additional player is optional. All right, so from first blush, it looks like this game is a game you take on the go to a liminal space, as they describe it. There is a definition of liminal space we just looked up on Google, if this helps, right over here. In internet aesthetics, liminal spaces are empty or abandoned places that appear eerie, forlorn, and often surreal. Liminal spaces are commonly places of transition pertaining to the concept of liminality. Liminal space is the uncertain transition between where you've been and where you're going physically, emotionally, or metaphorically. To be in a liminal space means to be on the precipice of something new, but not quite there yet. The word liminal comes from the Latin word limen, which means threshold. Digiliminal space. Maybe what we can do is we can look up some like walking, hiking videos, and maybe that'll be our pseudo-liminal space. So we can pick one out from the internet and just kind of stream it and see if that can be a substitute for actually going somewhere. This is an interesting challenge to do on stream. I should have looked into it a little bit more before we started streaming this game in particular, so I could be more prepared. But let's try it anyway. Let's read it, what we got, and we'll go from there. Again, there's a couple versions of this game. Obviously, there's the one-page version, the two-page spread, and there's a one-page full, like, front and back version of this game. So hyper condensed. I think this is the original version of the game that was only front and back, one page, and then expanded into this, I believe they said 23-page game. So good to know. Table of contents over here, and of course people who worked on it. Playing the game, multiplayer gameplay. So it seems to be a solo game by premise, right from the start. It seems to be a one-player game by design and can be retooled to work for two players, if I understand correctly. There's game modifications. What is a ritual game? This is interesting. I kind of want to know what a ritual game means. Maybe we'll read that first. Terminus and writing, tarot and gameplay, interpretation guides. So let's get into it. From a page to a booklet. Hi, Splotchy Inc. Welcome to stream. Yeah, I think a lot of games start off like that. They go into like game jams, or there's zine month where you have a challenge to kind of write a game in a month. And sometimes it just starts as a page or two, and when you get inspired, you kind of grow it into a big old project. Let's look at what is a ritual game. I'm kind of curious if we can read this before we actually read what the game's about. So let's skip ahead to page 10. Here, what is a ritual game? At its heart, zoom in on this. At its heart, tarot is an external tool that we use to help guide internal reflections. Other role-playing games use dice, miniatures, battle maps, and other scaffolds to bring the game out of the heads of its players and give a more grounded feeling to the play experience. Terminus, on the other hand, is a game played without most of these elements, and those that do only come into play in the second half of the game. Instead, we take something we do easily and without much active effort, such as taking a walk, and add intention to it, changing the first half of the game into a ritual, to be present in a place, to listen to your senses, and to carry these experiences with you to tell a story. Intention in this ritual is about being present in a space and focusing your attention and energy on a specific task, as you would in any meditative exercise. Try to eliminate distractions for the duration of your walk. Let it be a few minutes that you are able to spend simply being present in the moment and listening to your senses and your partner if you are playing with a friend. Find the silence or the steady state of your place and look for what changes or disrupts this equilibrium. Run your hands through the grass, dig your toes into the sand, listen for interesting sounds, eavesdrop snippets of conversation. What scents are here? and what feelings do they evoke? What catches your eye? Of this popular bike path, what remains at the end? What greenery still grows in this place as your last visitor passes through? Maybe the smell of lavender and steamed milk still wafts on the wind as the ghost remembers a now crumpled coffee shop. In short, being present in a place, experiencing it as it is, and imagining all that it could be is an essential part of the gameplay experience. Let yourself get lost in the right now, then sit down and tell a story about the what will be. Okay, so that's a better glimpse into what this game is about. You kind of have to pick a place to experience this game in its fullest. The intent is to add meaning to a otherwise normal experience, right? It says here, we take something we do easily and without much active effort and add intention to it. So this is kind of when you sit down and allow yourself to meditate, you take what is normally mindless free time and you add an intention to it, whether it be to center yourself, whether it be to focus on the future ahead or the present moment, whether to calm yourself down. It's an opportunity to spend time being thoughtful, and present is the word they use. So let's look into it. I saw mentions of ghosts and spirits, and I don't know what that means, so we should probably start reading from the beginning. Let's head up. Okay. So here is, this is the first part of the game, right here. You are the ghost of a place that is about to enter its ultimate rest. Accompany your last visitor as they see the remnants of all that has come to pass within your bounds. Okay, let's process that. You're playing as a ghost of a place that's about to enter its ultimate rest. Ultimate rest meaning one last person will see it. And they see the remnants of all that has come to pass within your bounds. So basically they're saying that the place that you are existing in, you should treat it as if you are the last person to ever witness it. Would a Wikipedia disambiguations page be a final liminal space? I mean, I guess. I guess so. Liminal space is kind of I think it's described or loosely interpreted as empty and surreal. In a place that it doesn't feel like it's just a normal mundane place. There's kind of a emotion attached to the location. It's kind of where you can't take everything at face value and kind of have to be subjective about the space. But yeah, so the idea behind this is that you treat whatever space you're walking through, and as we do in role-playing games, we imagine, we create the situation with our imagination. Imagine if you are the last person, or you're witnessing the last person to ever walk through the space. So you're not playing the visitor, you're not playing the person who's walking through, you're playing the ghost who has witnessed everything that's happened in this location. And you are accompanying the last person to ever stop here. Strong opening two sentences, I gotta say. Retrace the steps of those who have tread your halls or walked your sands. Stand with those who have waited in your echoing terminals or winding lines, and rest with those who have found respite by your murmuring waters or beneath your shady greens. Mark the passing of this last visitor and release your magic and memory into the ether. So what you're kind of doing is, I don't want to say waxing nostalgic, but you're kind of retracing your steps of all the important things that have happened in this space and imparting them on your last visitor to allow the entire location to find the catharsis of, I guess, no longer being a space that people occupy, to make sure that the memory of this place continues on. I think it's very much aiming for, I think catharsis is the word you're looking for here in terms of what the emotion you're trying to reach is. Before you play, gather the following: a deck of tarot cards or playing cards, something to write with a pencil, pen, or brush, something to write on like a notebook, and a cloth or other surface to lay your cards and journal on. We don't have a lot of these, but we're gonna try to improvise as per a as per a live stream. We'll see where it goes. When you have gathered your supplies and yourself, find a liminal space, a place where one lingers but does not dwell. You might choose a park, a train station, the water's edge, an airport, a favorite coffee shop or restaurant, as long as you can take a short walk and watch other visitors pass by. A familiar place can offer the chance to reframe sights and sounds that have become background noise over time. New or less visited places offer a chance to see with unbiased eyes, noticing details that are easy to overlook in places where you've already decided what's interesting and what's not. Whatever place you choose, don't put yourself at risk and be mindful of its other visitors. So the intent with picking a familiar place or a new or less visited place is basically to reevaluate what you find valuable in this space, to allow an opportunity to find meaning in locations you would otherwise not glance at. This is great for people who go on long walks. I can already tell this is kind of a game geared for people who like walking through random spaces. What about a public camera feed? Could be real. I was thinking like we just find like a YouTube video of like a nature scene. Is that so crazy? Let me see if I can. I don't know if I have the rights to, but we're gonna find out, right? Like a sitting on a dock at night. No, sitting on a beach at sunset. 1 hour. What if we just do something like that? Just like, how do I do this? I'm just looking for something like super normal. And hopefully like, imagine
Polly Pratt.
I'm just gonna mute the video real quick. So like, what if we just do something like that? Like something of that vision, right? It's not exactly a liminal space because it's like a place that people frequent, but the idea that I could be the last person to see this shore or this beach, something like that, right? That's the energy. Or what if I could just do like long walk, woody walk, 1 hour long? What if we just do that? Woods walk 1 hour long. Yeah. Virtual forest. This isn't real though, right? Oh, it kind of is. Sure, we can maybe this. Look at that, right? What if we just do that? Thumper says, so it would be more Wikipedia change history. Yeah, Thumper, I guess so. It's a place no one would ever visit. Maybe a place that hasn't been touched, like a Wikipedia page that hasn't been touched for years, and probably never will be. If you can find a page on Wikipedia that hasn't been touched for like the better part of half a decade, that's basically a dead spot that no one will ever see again, right? That's the idea. Splotchy Ink says, public pool during summer or water parks in winter. Yeah, like real quiet places you can really think about what you're doing. So I don't know if I can't show both things at once unless I ruin this stream. And what if I duplicate this just in case? Okay. And what if I, hear me out. That's not it. No. This. We're experimenting here, okay? We're experimenting. Don't judge me. I'm trying something new. I know that's a dangerous thing to say. Hear me out. What if it's just like that? Maybe? Yeah, like that. We'll still give credit to the original YouTuber. And then we can read the PDF alongside This gentle walk through a forest. Isn't that cozy? Couldn't that be cool? Theater mode. What if we just... That didn't work. Back. Default view. Yeah. This is fine. This is fine. And you guys can watch this little video. It's like a little Subway Surfers thing in the corner for people who get distracted. So let's keep reading. Oh my gosh. Did it pause? There you go. Okay. It does pause when I don't hover over it. What if I... Oh, maybe? Maybe? I'm really trying my best here. There. How's that? What if I tap out? Oh, there you go. Okay, we got it. We're working. Cooking with gas. But now I gotta pop out chat so I can see you guys. Because now this little video is blocking my ability to see you guys. Yeah, how's that? How are we doing? There you go. Okay. Let's try to cook like this. Okay. An ideal space is one where you... Can I make this bigger? Yeah, how about that? Okay. An ideal space is one where you can take a short walk, alone or with a friend, and then sit and write for a while. Ideally, Terminus gets you out and about. But if this is impossible for you, you can explore a place using street level photography. Oh look, street level photography. Who just said that? Wiseman said public camera feed. That's exactly what you said. Street level photography, video or audio tours, or just your memory. What we're doing right now is a video and audio tour. Or just your memory. Or you might try an imagined place, either from your own mind or by exploring a game environment and appreciating all its small details and emergent interactions. There's something a little ethereal about exploring an empty place like this. Next, walk through this place, keeping either mental or physical notes of your route. Along the way, keep an eye out for interesting... Let me just close this. Keep an eye out for interesting events or essential mundanities that take place that make this place feel alive as you experience it and write them down. An animal storing food for the winter, a snippet of a conversation, an amusing or interesting piece of graffiti, any fragment of an event or experience that draws your attention. Write a few words about the place where you found them and about the event or thing itself. Oh, here you go. Hello, Inhasa. Welcome. For a short game, take note of 5 to 10 things. For a medium length game, oh no, ads! They're hitting me with ads. I deserve it. For a short game, take note of 5 to 10 things. For a medium length game, record 10 to 15. If you would like to spend an afternoon telling a story of a place, record as many as 22. Okay, so the instructions so far are to find a place that is quiet, familiar, or unfamiliar, that has a lot of things you can write about. Things that you would otherwise not pay attention to, but now that you're focusing on this place, things that you would otherwise, that you now can experience differently. Your goal is to write them down, put them in your notebook as you walk, and depending on how long you want your game to be, you can write down 5 to 10 things or 10 to 15, and you can record as many as 22 if you want this to be a very long game. I'm guessing the idea is that you use them later when you eventually recollect what you're going to do and pull out your tarot cards and things like that. The ads are an important part of the story. I mean, listen, if I'm going to use their stream for my... if they're going to use their video for my video, then they're free to put their ads on wherever they want. Ads are part of the modern story. It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor. Ads are a metaphor. As you walk, imagine that you're a stranger to this place. When you see something happening, remember that you, the spirit of this place, are reliving the memory. Your final visitor sees only the remnants of what you see now. Oh, interesting. So you're reliving the memory. What you're writing down are things you've experienced all throughout time, and you're sharing them slowly with the visitor that's coming through for the very last time. Let's see what their example is as I continue to reconfigure where this YouTube video is. Example: you might see a stone circle where a fire was recently extinguished, surrounded by several stumps and logs as makeshift chairs and benches. In the present, the details are fresh. The insides of the rocks are covered in ash, but the outside are still bright, their edges sharp. A few even threaten to roll away, and the plants that survived the heat of the fire poke between stones. For your visitor, seeing this place as its ultimate end, there are only remnants. Soot-stained stones, worn by wind and water over the years, still loosely arranged in a circle near an ashen patch of earth. Depending on the card you draw for this stone circle, it could mark a place of communion for your spirit. Where the visitor at this place's end sees only ashes and worn stones, you remember the first gathering of friends in this place, and the many evenings of worn companionship that came here. As you explore your liminal space, find a place you can return to where you can spread out a journal and a few tarot cards. A table, a rock, or flat patch of dry ground will do. A cloth to put your cards and journal on is very useful if your space is outside. When you have gathered your experiences, return to the place you found to play. You're ready to tell the story of what you have seen. Shuffle your tarot deck, then draw a card and place it at the center of your play space, face down. Draw a card and place it center of each face. This card represents the memory that the visitor will make here, the final experience before this place's ultimate end. Cool. So, to recap how to play this game. 1. Find a cool place. Find a place that you want to think about more readily. 2. Wander through this space. Find things that you might find interesting or might tell a larger story. Things that you might otherwise find boring or uninteresting if you weren't paying direct attention to it. Once you write all those down, you find a place where you can sit down and really process everything that you've seen. Then you correlate those experiences to a tarot deck and try to draw a story of what a spirit would be relaying to its final visitor about the memories made at this specific location. There we go. Let me see. And Hasa said something. I'm looking at chat right now. So this is a game. Is this a game about taking a nature walk, taking notes on it, and then making a game from the tarot deck? I was right. Yes, it is exactly that. It's exactly that. So let's see what this looks like. Example. A few minutes after... I just keep moving the screen around. I'm really playing with... I'm going to improve how well I know OBS very soon. Not today, probably not next week, but maybe the week after. OBS, this stream should look a little bit nicer. I just got to find time to improve it. But right now it looks very janky. We're walking through a park and we're looking through a PDF, but we'll get to it. Example. A few minutes after I pass the stone fire circle, I arrive at a shelter house near a pond with a comfortable table. I decide this is a good place to lay my tarot cards on, so I stop, shuffle my deck, and draw a card to begin my spread. Okay, so, oh no, more ads. Can I pause it in time? No, I can't. Oop. Starting with the event that you noted at near your current location. Draw a card and place it. Do you think I could? I wish I knew how to crop in. No, that's not it. I wish I knew how to crop in OBS. I forgot. I used to know because I've clearly cropped before, but I no longer know. But otherwise, I would crop this out. Anyway, it's okay. Starting with the event that you noted near your current location, draw a card and place it face down, adjacent to the card in front of you. Again, there's one card placed in the center that we will end the game on. So you draw a card and place it face down adjacent to the card in front of you. Do this for each event you've noted on your walk, creating a spread of cards that resembles the route you took. Each card represents a memory, great or small, magical or mundane. That place has defined you, the spirit of this place, and that you now release into the ether as your essence departs this place. When you have placed a card for each event, turn the card furthest from you face up and consult the interpretation guide. Describe how your space and those who visited came together to create that memory. Consider how it now appears through the eyes of its final visitor. Whoop. When you are finished, the memory and its magic are released into the universe as the ghost prepares to depart this place. Describe how the memory ends and is released into the ether and move on to the next memory. Let me try that again. The memory is released into the universe. Describe how the memory ends and move to the next memory. Okay, so each tarot card represents a single experience in how you interpret it. Once you formulate that memory, you describe what it was, and you relay it to the visitor. It passes on into the ether, being told for the last time, symbolically. When you turn over the final card, create your final memory. As the ghost, do this not as you were, but as you are now. Describe the passage of your final visitor. And when they have departed, describe the release of your essence. When this final memory is released, the game is over. Take a deep breath and return to yourself. Take as much or as little time as you need to ground yourself before returning to the rest of your day. So, as we turn the stream off for a second, that's basically the whole game, I want to say. That's the entirety of the game, and the rest of the PDF is supposed to help with that experience. So multiplayer gameplay, as I'm understanding it from a quick skim through, one player plays as the visitor and one player plays as the ghost, and you kind of experience this whole memory of this place simultaneously. So max number of players on... There's a face on the path? Interesting. We're gonna watch the video and see if we can pick out things that we can talk about within this game once we get to it. So this would be the 2-player version. You'd play as the ghost and the visitor, which is interesting. There's their gameplay modifications if you only want to play with Major Arcana. If you want to do the Fool's Journey. What is the Fool's Journey? Each card in a Major Arcana has a number from 0 to 21. Fool's Journey refers to the narrative that's implied by placing these cards in ascending numerical order. The meanings of these cards tell a story. Oh, interesting. So instead of pulling them randomly, it speaks of starting with the Fool and how they've grown. So you place the cards chronologically, so to speak, from 0 to 21 and experience the game like that. Cool. This is playing without a tarot deck, what that looks like. I'm not going to end the stream here. I really want to try it at least once. This is the description of what we read before. What is a ritual game? Terminus in writing. Terminus is a game about using a ritual to make observations and using structured narrative to tell a story about what we see. So there's a lot of stuff here that helps you kind of understand the premise or the meaning behind the game, understanding kind of what the author's vision was for why people play this game. And this is a description of tarot cards if you're not familiar with tarot cards. This is actually very thorough. A pretty thorough guide for people who are unfamiliar with tarot cards. A lot of games just kind of assume you understand what they are, but this is really trying to help you understand why we use tarot cards or why they focus on certain details and the energy behind it. This is just a straight up guide for tarot. That's fantastic. Look at that. You have to understand that, like, tarot cards obviously have their own meanings or what they were made for, or what they're designed for, or what they're primarily known for. But in the space of tabletop role-playing games, tarot cards aren't necessarily invoking the exact intentions of what tarot cards are usually used for. Mostly they're used as a substitute for playing cards that have specific emotions attached to them, specific concepts and motifs and themes that are applicable to any story. So it's very useful in terms of just adding a second flavor to an experience or a new perspective on an experience. So that's cool. I know when I started reading games and they're like, oh, we use tarot cards, I was kind of hesitant. I'm like, I don't really believe in that sort of thing, or I don't really understand this sort of thing, but you have to understand it's more than just the mystical side or the mythos of what tarot cards are supposed to represent. It's very much an opportunity to reframe how you see the game and how you see the world. So use interpretation guides. These are really useful too. So if you don't know what each card represents, this is pretty useful. And then minor. Oh, this might be useful if we do this. When we play this game, let's try this. Let's try using these interpretation guides as a quick primer. Lots of suits. Great. And your notes. Yeah, great. Fantastic. Let's give it a try. So what... yeah, so yeah, there's so many good resource pages at the end of this game to describe like how to use tarot in this game specifically, and how to really approach it for someone entirely new to this space. So what we're gonna do to try this game is we're gonna watch that stream for just a little bit, maybe like 2 or 3 minutes, and if there's anything that sticks out to you while we're walking on that little hike thing, then we can add it to the list and interpret it with tarot cards as we go. So why don't we try that? This is interesting. I don't think we've ever done something like this before. Let's give it a whirl. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go to this stream. Did that work? Yes. So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna maximize, and then as this video is playing, by all means, credits to 4K Relaxation Channel with 1 million subscribers. They are 100 times, no, way more than 100 times, right? About 100 times bigger than I am, give or take. That sounds right. So they won't mind if I play a little bit of this video, right? Right? You can't copyright a forest, right? If there's anything you guys notice as we're walking, feel free to mention it in chat, and we can attribute some of those to tarot cards and interpret those experiences as a ghost, putting ourselves in the mind of this ghost passing through this space for the last time. Got it? If you see anything interesting that catches your eye, or even something like entirely mundane or something you don't really pay attention to normally, absolutely mention it in chat. Let's get it started. Maybe I could pump up the volume. Quality? Come on. Don't film me now. I know I'm streaming, but you could totally do a 1080 stream. No, the mindfulness. We're losing the ambiance. Quick, bounce back to something more manageable for my internet. No. No. Did we? Oh, we cursed it. We tried to be greedy with the quality. No, we've biffed it. What if I refresh? Please forgive me. I was just trying to... Oh my god. No! No! Come on. You can do it, internet. You've got it. You can do it. This is a bit of a liminal space, isn't it? The 5 seconds before a video loads. How crazy would it be if it just does not load at all? How wild would that be? That's so funny. No, the stream. My immersion. My immersion. This is what I get for trying to watch somebody else's stream on my stream. Yes, we're back. We're back. We're in it. What's up, Matu? You missed the premise of this game, but oh my gosh, it's really, really slowing down. That's crazy. Golly gee, maybe it'll work. Okay, we'll play it for a little bit. Okay, this is fine. This is fine. Okay, again, so if you're tuning in for the first time, this might be strange, Mati. So just stick with me here. We're pretending to take a walk through a forest. If you notice anything that sticks out to you, mundane or interesting, totally normal or otherwise, feel free to chuck it in chat. We're gonna take a moment. I'm gonna be quiet on the mic, and if you guys notice anything that catches your eye, something we should talk about, or use for the gameplay as we continue forward, feel free to dump it in chat. I might mention a thing or two as we go, and we'll start there. Okay, see you guys in 2 or 3 minutes. You got us again with an ad. That's like when you're walking through the forest and your phone rings and it's like, all right, I did need that, right? Radiation symbols? I did not even spot that, Thumper. We're gonna do this for like a minute and a half more because I'm actually kind of really enjoying this. Okay, I think I'm gonna call it here. Might as well pause to it. Might as well. I want to see which bind this bend and then we'll go for it. Okay, more trees. Great. We'll call it here. Okay. We'll lower the music just a little bit again. Back to where it was before. Here we go. Okay. So, we're going to take a look at the game and see if we can use those experiences and turn them into something. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull some tarot cards to relate to some of these events. Let me see if I have a notepad that I can pull out for this. Let me see. Notepad, maybe? Maybe not. Notepad, maybe. There it is. Great. Okay. All right. So the experiences we noted, and I'll leave the music a little bit loud for this. That's fine. Let's just grab 5, right? 5 of the most potent things that we saw. I think let's start with obviously Troll Bridge has to be one of them. There's a really short bridge over a really short river. Let's see. Just I think roots plus ferns. I think the fern. I think that's like a significant thing. There's just like so many of the same plant. I thought it really interesting when I was looking at what you guys were writing. This forestry seems very normal to me. As someone who lives in the Northeast US, this seems like a path that could be upstate from where I'm at easily, right? And a lot of you are like, oh, I don't recognize these, or I don't see these. That's so strange. Let's see. Then we can do, I think, fallen rope ladder. I didn't catch that myself, but that's a really interesting one. And then small scroll stairs, I think, is good, right? And the last one, light plus dark. I think that's a good one. Just the difference between what parts are illuminated by the sun and what parts are like perpetually shaded. So yeah, this is good. We can start with these. And now what we're going to do is attribute these each to different tarot cards and then see if we can make some sort of vision out of this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, let me see if I can bump this over. Chrome. That video's paused. Here it is. Okay, so we're gonna randomly draw a card and attribute it to each of these. I think we have to draw 6, right? Because there's a starting card, but we won't pull the starting card until the very end because there's no real way to put it face down. So we're gonna start with Troll Bridge and see what happens there. Troll Bridge is Page of Wands. Roots and Ferns is 6 of Swords. Fallen Rope Ladder is Wheel of Fortune. And good night, Inasa. Thank you. I always remember that you have to be here so late to show up. Absolutely get a good night's rest. The VOD will be up when you're done, or when you wake up. So thank you for dropping by, as always. Oh wait, you're not in a different time zone. You're basically in my time zone, more or less. All right, have a good night, dude. Last one is 10 of Wands. No, this was 10 of Wands. Last one is King of Pentacles. Okay, so these are our 5 things. So let's see if we can turn a story out of this. Again, the whole point of this was to be this sort of spirit, this sort of ghost leading a visitor through a place with plenty of memories. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the PDF. I'm going to pull up how to interpret each of these, and I'll go from there. So the first one is Page of Wands. So Page of Wands. Where can I find that? This is Wands. Here we go. Page. A fleeting interest, an experimental phase, a whim indulged. The suit of Wands deals with creativity, spirituality, inspiration, strength, and intuition. It is also associated with the element of fire. Memories of fire tells us what drives our actions, what shapes our personality, and what passions drive us. So, hypothetically, if I was a ghost passing through this place, or a ghost that has existed in this place and seen this place's past and present, and want to impart upon the visitor what I have seen here, I think of the bridge, and I'm gonna step fully into character here. I think of the bridge as a leap of faith. The bridge represents the union of two separate communities separated by this river that passes through the forest. History would speak of the trials and disagreements and tribulations of these two communities, and the bridge that linked them across the river was honestly just a first try. There were no expectations. There were no real goals, realistic goals. It just seemed like a kind gesture to put a bridge that one could travel from one community to the other. I remember when it was built. I remember the hands that worked on one side, and I remember the reluctant tools that were offered from the other side to finish this wooden connector. The bridge was the first sign that we could become something greater. That the union of these two communities could lead to something grand and amazing. And even as both of these communities have moved on, left this space after generations, after the dust settles and the tents are packed up and the bags are hauled away, the bridge remains. As a testament to the union that was, and the union that sustained. That's the Troll Bridge. So let's talk about runes and ferns overgrowth. 6 of Swords. So the suit of swords is associated with thought, intellect, and belief, independent of emotion and passion. It's also associated with the element of air. Memories of air are intangible, moments of change, expressions of subtle and spectacular power. The 6 is a painful choice, logical conclusion, and outcome confronted. So, when we speak of roots and ferns overgrowth, I think in this moment I think about and recall the first difficulties of this strange connection. I can just refer to the two communities as the blue and the green. Let's call it the blue and the green. The blue is one side, the green is the other. The blue and the green didn't get along at first. Although the bridge was a kind gesture and we worked together to create it, nobody knew what to do afterwards. There was a strange question of, will this lead to exchange of goods? Will this lead to trade? Will this lead to talks and shared activities? Because this bridge was undertaken by such a small portion of the greater community, nobody really knew how it would affect almost the dynamic of this shared environment moving forward. The roots and the ferns are a reminder of things getting tangled and confusing, things being blown out of proportion, issues and arguments that were fueled by a fire laden in history. We fought for years and decades and centuries prior. Why wouldn't this also be a point of contention? The roots and the ferns are representative of things that were taken to extremes, grown out of control, and left to be chaotic. No attempts to quell the situation, no attempts to ease people's minds, no real mediator to make sure we would all get along. It was a difficult time, but a necessary one to get where we were in the future. Something like that, right? I think that works. So let's talk about Fallen Rope Ladder, Wheel of Fortune. You hear Wheel of Fortune. So what could the ladder, Fallen Ladder, represent? A wealth of experience, a stable foothold, a challenge faced. Sure, let's go with that. As the spirit guides the visitor past the Fallen Rope Ladder, they're reminded of when it was tied tall into the canopies of the trees. In this moment, the ghost is reminded of the village elder, one who has seen many conflicts, seen many wars, seen many disagreements across the two communities in the past, and watching the bridge being built for the first time in a long time gained a semblance of hope. They took to the forefront, they stepped in the way of these two warring sides and said, "We can try something new. I have seen the conflicts that we have dealt with each other. Perhaps with this steady communication we can resolve them peacefully. I will take your yells and your screams and your arguments and turn them into something that we can build from, that we can step upon and climb higher. This will be difficult, this will be a challenge, but with this foothold we will find a place of common ground." The ladder, while symbolic, was also a physical manifestation of the joined communities. Ladders were placed aside many trunks of trees, allowing both communities to equally gain the fruits that would bloom near the top leaves. It was a peace offering that any person could cross the bridge and climb to the top of a tree and claim whatever fruit they wanted. Normally, tools would be hidden or confiscated or kept away that you could never take from another person's field, but in this compromise, they agree that the trees are shared, that the ladders are for everyone. And with it came a period of prosperity for both communities. These shared crops, these shared trees, the shared ground allowed both communities to benefit from resources previously unavailable. You make it sound like the greens live in the canopy and the blues live in the forest floor. It could be. I think it's fine. I think that's perfectly fine. I think the ladder metaphor makes perfect sense here. If you want to separate them by elevation, the ladders would be this kind of compromise. Like, hey, you can come to the canopies and we can go to the floor and we don't have to divide that space anymore. The bridge was kind of just the first metaphor of this sort of division-made union. But we could absolutely lead into that, like the greens and the blues. This very much feels like a Dr. Seuss fable now, where the greens and the blues are separated by elevation, one on the floor, one in the canopies, and this ladder is representative of the shared community. The fallen aspect of it, the fact that it lays on the floor, signifies that, in fact, time has passed. That leader who is the first initiator of this union no longer is present, has passed on many years ago, and communities and future generations had to continue his efforts, continue this peaceful ground. And that was, as we can see here, the challenge faced after a stable foothold had been formed. Let's keep going. Small scroll stairs. 10 of Wands. So these are those small gentle stairs we saw as we were walking. 10 of Wands. Oh, this way. Ten of Wands. Here we go. Again, this is what shapes our personality and what passions drive us: creativity, inspiration, spirituality. 10. A crushing burden, an excess of responsibilities, relief, insight. This would be most likely the most stressful part of this new union. Of course, there would be people who didn't agree that two communities should work together. There would always be this quiet, building, bubbling pressure point that would say that it was better how it used to be, that this connection soured both communities by ruining their individualities, their expertises, their specialties, suddenly strained to serve communities too. You could feel that there were people who were quite content with their small insular community and did not want to share their bounties with the greater world. And that became challenging. As a union is always so optimistic, it's always idealized, it's not always perfect. There are traditions and values and moralities that might not ever be shared. There are goals and wants and needs that are different objectively. And while these two communities did work in tandem for quite a bit, they found that by working together, their individual cultures and ideals were being challenged and changed. And for a lot of people, that was a pain point. Not to say that future generations didn't grow with the visions of an open world, with open eyes to the world, with a open mind to the possibilities of who they could be and what they could believe in. Not to say that didn't happen, but certainly there were people who felt like their cultures were being melded and mixed and diluted by the ideals of others. And for all intents and purposes, that's a perfectly fine stance. But as that continued to cause division between the members of their own community, as schisms formed within their own peoples, they decided that while this experiment was enlightening, was beneficial, was bountiful, perhaps it wasn't that bad to stay separate. No offense taken. And with that, we're going to lead into light and dark spots. King of Pentacles. Pentacles also is the same thing as cups in this situation. Right? Cups and bits coins? What is that? Let me look it up. Are pentacles... Is pentacles coins? Or are pentacles and coins? Yes. Okay. Coins is pentacles. Great. Sorry, I was affirming the terminology. So king. So the suit of coins. Nope. This way. Suit of coins deals in physical and material. Unsurprisingly, it is also associated with an element of earth. Memories of earth are grounded, tactile, and immediate. They show us what is important to us and how to nurture it. Thank you, the Community Master, for confirming. King of Pentacles. A dream realized, an abundance shared, a success shared with others. The ghost would pause and look on the space with a quiet peace. They would notice that former former clearings were entirely vacated and newly overgrown. You would notice the scorch marks on trees and barks had never truly healed. They would notice the trodden trails forged by steps taken on the shortest path, slowly but surely overgrown by new roots and new ferns. And as this place came to quiet, this final visitor is such a blessing to witness this place for one final moment. Truly, this place was a space of abundance. The dream realized being the unity of these two communities that warred for decades and centuries, a success story. One that truly forged a partnership none would ever believe in. And like many relationships, like many bonds and many unions, sometimes there is an end. A pain point that drives them to separation. For this space, it was a famine. Crops from both sides died in the searing sun. Some places burned by fire, never to grow again. That doesn't make sense biologically, but stick with me. The place and the land had become inhospitable and not enough to burgeon the swelling community. So what they did was they left. And as they left, it is not as if the dream died, but simply moved somewhere else. Some people who favored their own cultures and their own ideals left in packs of their own people and wandered to the western ends of the world. And others, born or raised or adopted into this union, traveled together. The blues and greens of the floors and the canopies moved as a unit to other spaces. And thus, a differing blend of these two aquamarine colors departed from this space, not giving up necessarily on a union that was formed, but rather understanding that the time with this land had passed. That the story they had with this space and this bridge and these ladders and these ferns had a closing chapter. Well, their stories continued on. Where there are dark spots, there are also light. Where there is dissonance, there is also peace. This place is where that unity happened, grew, and was forged. And now it has left. But not in a painful, not in an angry, not in a desolate way. Simply to another home. And with that, we go back to our starting card, which is what we have to learn now. The starting card, as you play this game normally, would be pulled at the very beginning. But because we can't really do that here, we're instead just going to pull it now. This card is... This card is... the Nine of Swords. What could the Nine of Swords possibly mean? Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords is a lingering anxiety, an impending doom, a need for help. I think it's at this moment the ghost realizes that while this is the last visitor to stand on these campgrounds, there's a quiet realization that they're not the last member to be on this community, the last member of the community to be in this space, but rather it's a ghost. The ghost reflects in this moment why they remained for so long. Was it a worry that this place and its history would be forgotten? Was it a worry that perhaps the story would never be told? Was it an anxiety that these communities, although they're bound for now in the new places, will once again separate? A litany of worries and difficulties and a history of conflict that has anchored this ghost to this space. And they realized in this moment that what they needed was simply someone to speak to on the matter, someone to vent to, an open mind, a helping hand, a visitor to help them process their thoughts and truly find the catharsis they were always looking for. The ghost realizes that telling the story to the visitor was indeed a cry for help. And now that the story has left their ethereal lips and disappeared into the ever after, so too will the ghost. Realizing, as they spoke, that they need not worry for the future, but simply acknowledge the beauty of the past and the present. And that's Terminus. That is Terminus. Cool. If you're interested in this game, you can find it on itch.io. Let's quickly pivot to the pitch. Again, thank you so much, Jonathan Boyle, for allowing me to cover this game. Thank you, Emily Entner, for recommending it. This was such a unique experience. I don't think we've ever had a stream like that, where we simply sat in silence and enjoyed the sights of nature and pulled a story out of it. Again, you can find this on itch.io. If you want to look at more of Jonathan Boyle's stuff, you can find him at residentbard.com or at residentbard on Twitter. Thank you again all for tuning in and enjoying this wonderful experience with me. Next stream that we have will be game 48 out of 99. Truly almost crossing the threshold of the halfway point in this very long project. If you have any recommendations for games I should check out, put it in the comments of this video. Do not put it in chat because I will quickly lose that, unfortunately. If you put it in comments, it's much more easy for me to find it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you again, anyone who sent one of those world building prompts to that community post I put earlier this week. We got so many cool story prompts, and I can't wait to dive into it with my co-host when we record at the end of this week. So thank you guys again for tuning in. See you all next week. I hope, almost certainly, next week. Have a wonderful night. Find a liminal space and meditate in it, and stay frosty.